What is up, YouTube? JankyYGO here. My name is Michael, and in this video, I'm going to be going over my thoughts on the Synchro XE Festival and what deck I'm playing, and if you don't have a deck, what out of the loaner decks you should be playing. Now, without further ado, let's get into some of the rewards, and yeah, go from there. So, the rewards are pretty standard. I'm pretty sure like the rewards are the same. It's like 2,300 gems is how you get just from playing the event for sure. And then there's missions and stuff like that. After you get to 11,000, it's not really worth playing for the legacy packs. You're only really playing for the title, in my opinion. Um, there's a cool Quebble Hedgehog. I have, as you can see, 4,100. So I am playing a Paleo Frog deck because I don't know. I tried a bunch of other decks and it didn't work, and then I went, oh, why am I not just playing Paleo Frogs? We don't need Link monsters. We can X these. So yeah, we're gonna jump into what I think the best decks are. As you can see, I was playing the Pendulum deck because I wanted to play all of them and get a good feel out of all of them. And the Pendulum deck was the one that I hadn't played yet, so I played a few games of it. The Pendulum deck is okay. You can OTK pretty easily depending on who you face and what deck you face. The Ghost Trick deck is really hard to win with. I have won with it. I've won like several games with it. It is not exactly a fun experience, in my opinion. There are better versions of Ghost Trick as well. If you want to play a good Ghost Trick deck, honestly, this like the traditional flippy floppy control. This isn't that bad. If you want to play and use Ghost Tricks as an engine, as uh, I've seen other people do, um, and just mainly just play this as your only main deck Ghost Trick card, and to make F-Zero, then yeah. What this deck is really missing actually is just F-Zero. If this deck had F-Zero in the extra deck, this deck would have a real win condition. Unfortunately, it does not. So you have to kind of flip flop and just hope that you can make it. It's only playing these two. Ghost Trick Mansion being the payoff, Ghost Trick Parade being the one that you search all your cards with in order to uh, set up so that you can lock your opponent out. The whole game plan of this deck in particular is to uh, flip all your opponent's monsters face down. They can't link summon, so you don't have to worry about that. And then get out a Ghost Trick Angel of Mischief, as it's the biggest Ghost Trick. And then you want to flip up a Ghost Trick Knight so they aren't able to flip summon their monsters back up while you have a mansion out. Once you get that set up, you're good. Um, One thing is, though, this deck is very susceptible to board wipes and all that. So a Dark Hole can really mess this deck up, as well as a Harpy's Feather Duster, because this deck isn't playing Ghost Trick Vanish. So keep that in mind. But if you want to talk about the strongest deck at this whole thing, it's definitely this if you're going for a loner deck, and Sword Soul is probably one of the most powerful decks in general if you are to play like the actual constructed version. So I played this version. I played a few games of it and it won pretty easily. Even through hand traps, I played through Max C like it was nothing. I didn't have the called by till after I finished my combo, and I was still able to win pretty handedly because Sword Soul is a very powerful deck. So, yeah, it's pretty simple too. It's just about summoning multiple synchros, and it's pretty easy to do it. On average, I've ended on uh their level 8 and their level 10 if I'm going first. If I'm going second, and depending on my hand, sometimes I'll make this before making the other stuff. That way I can draw more cards and banish my opponent's monsters as I go. And have a negate, I guess. Yeah. You have a monster and spell and trap negate, as well as one of these if you get the right hand set up. Okay, so I didn't really go over this deck and some of its power plays, so I'm gonna kind of go over it. What you want to do with this deck is you want to pendulum summon, obviously, and then you want to start synchroing and XD summoning, and all that. And this card helps a lot in order to do so, as some of your scales are 8s. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. This deck is also not necessarily as beginner friendly, as some of the other decks. If you want to talk about, so these decks aren't, so as a caveat, none of these decks are exactly like the easiest deck to play, but they're not like super hard. This one's probably has the hardest like ceiling in order to see how the combo lines line up and stuff like that, and knowing what your cards do. This one's the hardest to win with because it's the weakest deck. This one's the easiest to win with. Um, but the lines and stuff like that might be a little tricky for new players. So if you want to win, you want an easy win, you go for this for sure. Or well, I don't say it's not necessarily easy win, but if you want to win and you don't have a uh Xyz deck or a Synchro deck or like a deck that primarily does that summoning mechanic, like I don't really, outside of like frogs, because most of my decks are link summon decks or decks that use their extra deck. So then definitely go with the Sword Soul. It's pretty easy to pick up, and you just got to read your cards. And yeah, that's it. Like I said, some of the missions are pretty easy. We'll go check them out. I'm going to ignore that for now. I'm still working on that because I just kind of got back into the swing of Master Duel. But here are some of the festival events. You got like just activating spell cards, winning expeditions, XE summoning, synchro summoning, and then normal summoning. And this is after they added more missions. So just keep that in mind. If you haven't started this event because you don't have a deck that you really want to play, maybe your deck is you like only like playing heroes, and stuff like that. This is a good event for you. If you like playing Blue Eyes, this is also a good event for you, assuming you're not like the Chaos Max build. But if you're going like the normal extra deck spam build of Blue Eyes, this event is actually very good for you because Blue Eyes, outside of wanting to summon Link Karibo to link away their level 1s to summon out Blue Eyes and stuff like that, they really only use Xyz and Synchros anyway. But I've talked long enough. Hopefully, this will encourage some of you to try out this event if you were on the fence. If it is your birthday today, happy birthday. And if you want to send meaningful deck profiles or replays, you can send them to JankyYGO at gmail.com. And of course, and as always, have a wonderful day.